Hey folks, this is Jeremy for From the Couch Gaming, and welcome to the Diablo 3 guide for the Leapquake Barbarian. This is for patch 2.4.1. There have been a few tweaks worked into this patch, which brings the Leapquake build back into greater Rift contention. For this build to work, you will need the full 6-piece Might of the Earth set. The bonuses of this set are reduced cooldown of Earthquake, Avalanche, Leap, and Ground Stomp by 1 second for every 30 you spend with an attack. Leap causes an earthquake when you land and gains the effect of the Iron Impact Ruin. The ruin's effects and duration are increased by 150%. The Iron Impact Ruin increases your armor after landing. The 6-piece bonus increases the damage of Earthquake, Avalanche, Ground Stomp, Ancient Spear, and Seismic Slam by 1200%. We'll get back to Ancient Spear's damage later. For the weapon, the Blade of the Tribes, which causes an earthquake and avalanche when Warcry and Threatening Shout are activated. On the waist, Dread Iron is best in slot. This is because of the additional avalanche damage that can be rolled in. For the wrists, Sculler's Salvation. Increase the damage of Ancient Spear, Boulder Toss by 100%, and when Boulder Toss hits 5 or fewer enemies, the damage is increased. More on Ancient Spear later. Focus and Restraint are the mainstay here, as well as a well-rolled Hellfire Amulet. When pushing the higher greater rifts, one of the necks that offer resistances may be considered depending on the rest of your defensive stats. For the gems, Bane of the Trapped, Bane of the Stricken, and Bane of the Powerful. When pushing higher greater rifts, Esoteric Alteration could be considered to replace Bane of the Powerful. On a side note, a diamond is not required in the helm because cooldown reduction is not a concern with this build, so an amethyst is best in choice to boost toughness. In the cube, the 300th Spear. Increase the damage of Weapon Throw and Ancient Spear by 60%. Still more on Ancient Spear later. Lut Socks. Leap can be cast up to 3 times within 2 seconds before the cooldown begins. This is an absolute must. Without it, the build doesn't work. And Band of Might. After casting Furious Charge, Ground Stomp, or Leap, damage is reduced by 60% for 8 seconds. Alright, and for the skills, let's start with the passives. Earthen Might. Gain Fury when Avalanche or Earthquake is triggered. Bloodthirst. Gain health for every point of Fury spent. Rampage. Increase strength by 1% for 8 seconds after killing an enemy. Stacks up to 25 times. And Ruthless. Deal 40% additional damage to enemies below 30% health. This really helps put the finishing touches on bosses and Rift Guardians. A good passive to try and roll into the Hellfire Amulet is Animosity, which increases Fury generation and max Fury by 20. For the actives, Leap. Death from above. Stun enemies at the point of impact. Earthquake. Cave in. Enemies are pulled towards you. Warcry. Impunity. Increase resistance to all damage types. An alternative is Veteran's Warning, which increases dodge chance, but I found my survivability increased when I switched to Impunity. Battle Rage. Bloodshed. Crit hits cause the enemy to explode, damaging nearby enemies. Threatening Shout. Falter. Enemies take increased damage. Last but not least, Ancient Spear, Boulder Toss. Expend all remaining Fury to deal additional damage. Okay, let's see it in action. Warcry and Battle Rage are your damage and defense buff. They have a 2-minute cycle, so they should have 100% uptime. Remember to pop them when needed. If you need a little added damage, they come with an avalanche and an earthquake. Leap serves a couple purposes here. It will add damage reduction, it will pull enemies in and stun them, it does AoE damage over time, and it can act as extra mobility to get from group to group. Getting from mob to mob is important because of Rampage. The 25% extra strength adds both damage and defense, so keeping the stacks up is key. With the Lit Socks, you get 3 leaps before cooldown kicks in, and it acts as a fury generator, proccing that side of focus and restraint. To use your fury is where Ancient Spear comes in, proccing the other half. Ancient Spear, Boulder Toss, has become the true centerfold of this build. With the gear and skills, Boulder Toss's complete Fury Dump will give you a few things. 1. The bonus of reducing cooldown for Fury spent. This gets you right back into Leap. 2. The Bloodthirst passive of healing with every point of Fury. So in essence, it acts as a healing potion. 3. The burst damage, which is increased by several pieces of gear. The damage of this one move is just phenomenal. It is what takes an AoE style build and gives it the ability to contend with the higher greater rifts, elites, and guardians. Speaking of elites and guardians, this is usually where you want to lay down an earthquake and debuff with threatening shout. The rotation here is kind of a simple one. You keep your buffs up, you leap around 3 times, and then you boulder toss. You rinse and repeat. So as you can see, leap, 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 and bam. I love it. Seeing the pure burst ability of boulder toss. This is a really fun build to play, so it's nice to see it back in solo endgame contention. As always, thanks for watching. If you like, give it the thumbs up or subscribe to our channel. Be sure to check back often for more reviews, opinions, and guides from the Couch Gaming.
Need more time. Not ready yet. You wilt against my blow. Need more time. You cannot stand before me. Not ready yet. Still recharging. Not ready yet. Need more time. Still recharging. Not ready yet. You wilt against my blow. Still recharging. more time.
The Rift Guardian has arrived.